Oh, hello. The time has finally come. I am starting my YouTube channel and I am so excited. This has been many years in the making. I have wanted to do this for so long. But I didn't really know what I wanted from it. I didn't really know what I wanted to accomplish or what I wanted to talk about. So I had to let it brew for a little while. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I do a lot of like PSAs. I'll just come on my story and I'll just like pick a random topic and start talking about it, give my opinion on it, whatever. And I've gotten a lot of like sort of interactions because of it from my friends and actually from people that just, have found me from other ways on Instagram. So it's been cool to kind of like test it out, see what it's hitting for, what I can get from it. And so now in this stage of life, I have finally sort of figured out what I want from this channel. So I'm very excited to just dive right in. Um, I've watched a lot of podcasts and a lot of YouTube channels and tried to find ones that are sort of talking about or covering topics similar to the ones that I want to cover. And, there's some things out there. There's nothing I feel that is doing exactly what I'm doing. So I felt like it would be a great sort of place to fill the gaps and to just like make this exactly what I want it to be without worrying about what other people are doing because I feel like this is unique and it's niche. And yeah, so basically, what I'm trying to do is host a space where entrepreneurs, business owners, um, anything along those lines, they come and they share just like their journey, what it took to get there, all the trials and tribulations, the years of hard work, what worked, what didn't work, like all these things. And I want that to just come together um, in a way that is also similar to my story and how I got to be where I am. So I'll start with sort of myself, and then after I've kind of covered that and gotten more familiar with that and with this channel, I'll start to feature other people that have done really cool things with their lives. And whether it's their day job or just like a hobby, I have a lot of really cool people in my life that have done really cool things. And I don't feel like there's a lot of spaces online for just the regular person to talk about how they got here and what it took to get here. I think that a lot of people focus on like little celebrities that are like on their way up or like people that are getting a little bit of buzz and like they want sort of, you know, more talked about people on their space. And my whole thing is keeping it just with the lay person, the average person that's just grinding and following their dreams and their passions, and they're not allowing their dreams to just be a dream. They're getting to a point where they're breaking out of that dream and they're having them become a reality. Um, so yeah, this is like a space for millennials and younger to just sort of show what it takes to make a dream become a reality, because I think, like a lot of times people our age, it's tough for us to navigate this path of like taking a dream and making it a reality because, the boomers that raised us, well, most of us, I know we're even getting to the point where Gen X and millennials are raising the next gen, but for millennials, a lot of us boomers raised us, and the way that they navigated the world is just not really applicable today. So you might have a boomer that's really trying to help you and really wants to give you ideas to like set you up for success, but those ideas are just not really working out anymore. The world doesn't work the same way it did when they were, coming up and when they were making their businesses and all this stuff. So like I have an entrepreneurial dad and he has tried to help me with things, and some of the things are okay, helpful, and some of them are just outdated and not really applicable. So it's hard for us to find the way that's going to work and make it successful without a roadmap in front of us, just kind of feeling it out and meeting each challenge with the best, intentions to keep going. And there's just along with having these dreams that a lot of people continue to kind of keep as dreams, unfortunately, there's also just so much negativity in the world right now. There are so many reasons to be upset and to harp on the negative and to, find yourself in places of like doom scrolling and, having to process these huge topics that are being thrown at us every single day. It's really important to find a space of positivity that can continue to feed you and continue to keep you in a good place and to, I don't know, just foster that for you on the days that are a little bit harder for you to find your joy or to find your positivity, for a YouTube channel or a person or someone's story to just like inspire that back into you and just get back on track. Um, you know, Working a 40-hour work week every single week, um, there's not joy in that, especially when you're just kind of doing it for the paycheck and you don't really like your job and the people you work with are hard or make your life hard or whatever. They don't help you enough, or they're not just the support you need, or even the leadership, like the leadership within the corporate jobs, for example, are typically undertrained and put a lot on their workers. So if you're below these leaders, your job and your work life balance can be pretty non existent, and they're really hard on you and you have to perform, perform, perform. All of this pressure that is being put on you from these things is not a space for joy. It could feel impossible to leave that environment at the end of the day and go somewhere else and try and be positive. I mean, even if you leave work and get drinks with your friends after work, when you leave that, the next reality is going to sleep and waking up and doing that thing all over again. So, you know, turning inward and relying on self and learning yourself is such an important thing because it can bring us back to joy. It can remind us what's important. It can remind us what we're about and what we want out of life and what we want for ourselves and mental health and just all these things. Like, you don't want to create a world, especially as a millennial and younger, you don't want to create a life and a world that is built for somebody that's not us. Like, the world we live in right now is built by people that are not us, and it's not working for us. It's not helping us. It's not worrying about us. It doesn't care about us. And when we realize that, when we remind ourselves that the world we're living in right now was built for a completely different generation, we can kind of start to process things and understand things in a little bit of a more productive way, because we need to be our own change. If a 40-hour week at a corporate job does not work for you, it's our job to let that go. Like, blowing up your life might have to be what's next. And blowing up your life is a risk. But if you follow what you need and you follow your heart and you follow your needs across the board, it will work out. And blowing up your life is something that the boomers would never agree to. They would never ever talk someone into doing. It's scary. It's got a lot of fear around it, and a boomer does not do fear well. They are kept in places because of fear. Boomers are the type of people that stay in jobs their entire career because they have stability and there's not a lot of scary things related to that. They can always rely on a paycheck. They can always, have their needs met every 2 weeks or whatever it is. They know exactly what's coming their way. Whereas we don't really care about that. We care much more about mental health and flexibility and, having a good leadership team, having people around you that actually care about your well-being rather than just like climbing the ladder and not giving a shit about you and the sick days you need and the personal time you need. Um, so it's amazing. What we are rolling in and what Gen Z is rolling in is helping everyone. But we have to remember that. And us bringing in this new change is healing a lot of people. It's healing the world in so many ways. We are saying absolutely not. We do not accept this anymore. It is not working for anyone. It's not even working for who it was created for, right? So burning that down, blowing up your life only leaves a possibility for new things to grow and prosper and develop, right? Um, the other really big thing here is that a lot of people don't want to be entrepreneurs. They don't want to own their own businesses. It's scary. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of leadership. Not all of us are leaders, and that's totally fine. But working for a place that likes you and cares about you is really important. So for the leaders, it's important for us to create businesses that can hire people like that can feel safe and can feel valued and don't have to have this insane, rigorous, you have to be in the office 5 days a week and you only take 2 weeks a year. Like, it's not working for anybody, right? Um, so personality types within these things that we choose for ourselves are really important to understand. Like, what's your zodiac sign? I know a lot of people don't lean into this, but I think in 2026 more and more people are leaning into these sort of birth charts and like our big three within our birth charts that might not do anything more than just help us understand ourselves. Why am I this way? Oh, because I'm a Virgo. Or why am I so emotional? Oh, okay, because my moon is in Pisces. Like, things like this can transition you from a place where you punish yourself for things you don't understand into a place where you understand yourself, you can embrace it, you can accept it, and then you can use it to your advantage. We don't all have the same goals, we don't all have the same dreams. And learning these things, learning your birth chart and learning your big three can profoundly help you just navigate life, and understanding these things can be something that this channel can help with, because we will be getting into personality types and big three and all of those things, so that me sharing can help you guys to research these things for yourself and learn these things within your own big three or your own birth charts, right? Um, there's just, there's people like me, right? I'm not saying everybody is. I find myself to be pretty unique. But I found at a certain point in my life that I was good at a good amount of things. I'm not saying I was great at them, but I was good at a good amount of things. And I never knew what I wanted to choose. It was so hard to narrow it down. Like, do I go this way? Am I going to regret it? Do I go this way? Is it going to be a big mistake? If I go this way and I don't like it, am I going to have to start at the bottom if I go this way after that? There's all this like pressure in just deciding and knowing what you want and all of these things. It's not really conducive to, you know, supporting what's best for you. It's just this pressure that this boomer created world has put on our shoulders. And it has never helped me. It has always shown me that there are more ways to fail than to succeed, which was really hard. Um, and especially as a kid, having like seeing yourself out in the world and seeing all the things that you're good at, um, it just made me want to grow up so bad. It made me want to go and explore these things and have my words be credited, because when you're a kid, a lot of people just think like, oh, I was just a kid, like what do they know? But there are a lot of kids that are really smart and really intuitive and like wise beyond their years. And I definitely was one of those people. I used to pride myself on my ability to like sit at the adults table when there were family gatherings or people at the house, and you know like keeping up with conversation and being able to add something like that was like huge for me. I used to love that. People would be like, oh wow, like wow, that's so interesting, or like, oh, you're so smart. Like these little things, I would be like, I want more of this. I need people to value my words and value what I'm about and what I bring to the table. And that curiosity brought me into a lot, like exploring a lot of other things, because if adults thought I was smart, then I'm going to go be smart and I'm going to go learn all these things and do all these things, you know? But at the same time, being a kid can be really hard. It was really hard for me. I did not like being a kid. My mom was sort of like a woman that wasn't really a girly girl. She was like a little hippie girl. Like she grew up with horse culture and with animals everywhere, and she's like a gardener. Um, and she never like had her nails painted or like really cared a ton about fashion. Like she was always put together, don't get me wrong, like her always put together, but she never really cared enough about it to like have this whole wardrobe or like these accessories or any of those things that I always really cared about and loved. And my best friend at the time, all through growing up, was like a super tomboy. She was like really into sports and she was good at them. And she was like always in like soccer shorts or like, she didn't have the knack for the interests that I had either. Like fashion or style or any of those things. She was always just a little more tomboy. And, on the block that I grew up in, like on the neighborhood, almost every single kid on the whole block was a boy, very few girls, and I didn't really hang out with them a bunch. So, and then I had a brother. My only sibling is a brother. So I was just like sort of surrounded by boys my whole life. And there wasn't really this big opportunity to be like girly. Not to say that I was like a super girly girl, nothing like that, but it was an avenue to explore it. Like a lot of girls get this avenue to just like explore their girliness. And don't get me wrong, I had like dolls, I had like American Girl dolls and all those things, and I really loved that. But it was still more, I don't know, like playing house than it was like being girly girly. I don't know. I guess that's kind of how I chalked it up at that time. And then the closest cousins that I had, that I saw most often, was a family of two boys. So again, just completely surrounded with boys and didn't really get that like one-on-one girl time except for with the friends that I had. And I didn't really feel like I connected with the girls in my grade that much. Like I was sort of always a black sheep of every crew that I was ever part of when I was a kid, whether it be family, friends, school, like my own house of a family to the four of us. I've always been this black sheep that really did her own thing. And there was, there were three other people in my house: my mom, my dad, my brother, and they're all fire signs, and I'm an earth sign. And just that in and of itself was a large struggle. There was a lot of fire sign chaos in the house, and everybody kind of did their own thing. Nobody really clicked that well all together, except for my mom and I. But we all have our differences and our own challenges. We never really were a unit the way that some families are. And we did present like we were. A lot of people thought we were like a very happy family all together. But I think that a lot of us were sort of happier doing our own thing. So there were challenges within that too. So there were a lot of just times where I felt like, I was like the black sheep, and that was kind of how it was always going to be. Um, which was fine. It was just navigating things differently, having less people to help you or to partner with you on things, or I don't know, help you to understand things from the same view that you had it, because they had such different views of things. Um, so yeah, like there was a time that I just decided that if I was going to like this thing, if I was going to want to go towards this thing, I wasn't going to wait for someone to want to do that as well. Like I had to go and blaze the trail all on my own and to learn about this thing, or, follow this thing all on my own. So from that, um, I didn't really know, after high school, I didn't really know like what I wanted to do. I didn't know I was going to go to college, but I didn't know what I wanted to go for. Just had no idea. So all of my family members basically went to college in like smaller towns or like towns outside of cities or something, or like small cities. Right away, I knew I wanted to go to a city. And I was doing a lot of nannying at the time. So my mom was like, oh, maybe you should go for like to be a teacher. There's a lot of teachers in our family. Maybe you could go do that. So I went to a school in Boston, a liberal arts college in Boston, and I went for early childhood education. Within the first 3 weeks of my internship, because they put you right in with the school I went to, I was like, nope, not for me. Nope. Immediately switched to psychology and really found my path. It was right along with all the things that I've always been interested in, like sitting at the adults table, being taken seriously at a young age, the psychology of humans, human behavior, all of these things that you're learning about that it's like, yes, like this subject gets me. This is like where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be learning about. Um, so, after these things within school, graduated with a psych degree, and a minor in visual arts because I'm a very creative person artistically. And right after that, I went into this little nonprofit events planning company that was actually part of a fashion company. It was like their nonprofit for this fashion company in Boston. And then when I decided to move to New York City, I basically moved with no job. I had nothing. I lived with my aunt for a little while. And within 2 weeks of living here, I found a job within real estate law. It was really just something to get some money in my pockets and to get my start here. Um, that business kind of crumbled and started to become smaller and smaller, and then eventually kind of fizzle out altogether. From that, I finally, for the first time in my life, got into fashion. And let me tell you something, not graduating with a fashion degree of any kind, you are starting at the bottom. Temp jobs, no insurance. If you take a day off, you're not getting paid, like the bottom, okay? But I was doing what I wanted to do. I was getting up and grinding. I was learning so much. I was in the place I wanted to be. It felt so right. It felt so perfect. And I think I worked at five, five fashion companies, brands that you guys all probably know. We'll get into that another day. Um, before I finally realized, like, what am I doing? So the only reason I'm saying all of this is because it took me like all these careers and all these different things, trying so many things. I was also a music manager at a certain point, events coordinator, so many things that it's never ever too late to just like try something, see if it fits, see if you like it, see if you want to seek it more, and trying to make the dream work. It's not going to just be an easy path. It's not going to just be something that's handed to you. It's going to take years of hard work and years of dedication, years of learning yourself. You know, um, there's there's a divine connection that you make between yourself and what you're doing along the way, and you realize that your own intuition is going to tell you everything you need to know. Um, like I got a job one time as a temp at a company. I'll talk about this more later, but in order for me to be hired into the company as like not a temp, I had to take a drug test. And at the time, weed was not legalized in New York, but it was legalized in Vermont, which is where I'm from. And weed in Vermont is very socialized. It's not, even parents don't really mind their kids doing that unless they're like, going overboard or losing themselves to it or whatever. And I failed the drug test and I didn't get the job, So there's things that the universe places out there for you that it's saying to you, like, this is not for you, it's not for you. As much as you wanted this was not the right choice for you. And then something else will come around. Early into my career, even in fashion, like, 10 years ago, I met with this woman who's like a family friend, and she is a career counselor for like really high up executives, like the CEOs, the CCOs, CFOs, you get it. She took me on because of the family connection, and she was so great. She gave me all these like really intense personality tests, not like Myers-Briggs, like what you like, what you seek. Like if you ask a person, what do you want to do? And they're like, I don't know. You could take this test and it could help you determine like what you want in your workday, what the tasks that you have, what are they, what you're good at, all these things. And it showed an overwhelming, like majority of my results were saying that I belong as an entrepreneur. I am a born entrepreneur. So at 25 years old, this is kind of a hard thing to hear because you're trying to make it in New York. It's so expensive here. There's so much pressure. New York is so unforgiving. You make one wrong step and you might not make rent. You might not eat that week, truly. And it's very hard, and it's only gotten harder. So having the results show you that was hard because it's like, okay, now what? Like, I can't just be an entrepreneur overnight. Who's going to fund me? Who's going to help me? So I needed to keep that, in my head, but stay the course and continue to work my day job until I was at a point where I could transition and not be drowning. So that just stuck with me and stuck with me. And the last career job I had that was not for my own company was another fashion brand, and I was the buyer. And I had finally made it. I was finally a buyer, and I was so happy. And then they had to downsize. The market wasn't good. They had to lay people off, and I was met with complete nothingness after the job out of all the jobs that I ever had that I liked the very most. And I thought that that would be the last job I had before I finally was sort of courageous enough to jump into the entrepreneurial. So during my layoff period, and when I was trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do next, I was applying to 4 billion places every single day. I was panicking. I was stressed out every day. I have 2 dogs that I have to, worry about. And I said to myself, this was the plan all along. After this job, you were supposed to become an entrepreneur. You were supposed to get your things off the ground and running. So I started a brand called Nectar Brand Therapy. And it's a brand that helps entrepreneurs and small businesses to improve processes or to get up off the ground for the first time ever, or to just develop better ways. And it starts with the brand therapy. Is this person the right one for this role that they're in? Do these people get along? Does everybody have the same goal in mind? Things like this, where you'd be surprised how many people go about these things and they just don't have these things figured out. They want this big goal, but they don't know how to get there, or they're setting their sights way too high, way too early, and it's not achievable and things fizzle out. And it has to do with personality. It has to do with zodiac signs. It has to do with big 3. All these things play such a role in what we do for ourselves, what we get for ourselves. And we're only doing ourselves a disservice by, having the wrong roadmap or having the wrong goals. And sometimes sitting down with someone like me can change the whole landscape of what we can achieve. Instead of looking at the top of Everest and being like, what's the first step we take? Like, you could be really, really good at something and want to just do that. But because you're starting off a business, you got to do all these other things and you don't know how they all work. So be the master of that thing and let somebody else come in and help you sort of navigate the rest. You don't have to be the master of everything, right? That is the way that you continue to be good at your craft, the way that you continue to succeed and to keep moving forward, is to continue to just master that craft, the thing you want to be doing, and get help in the other places. Help is good. Help is not bad. It's really not bad. And this channel, this show, it's going to be where I show you how I did it, and others come on and they show you how they did it. And we'll share these personality things with you about themselves. to try and show you how to be a Gemini and make it work, be a Virgo and make it work, be whatever and make it work, and have those differences be something that's really good. Like, we should not all be the same. We should not all have the same goals. We should all be so different so that we can come together and have all these differences that together are the full package and get us there. And so for now, that will be the channel that I'm creating as things progress, and I share more here. I'll also start to do some series. So the first series will be like this, and then there'll be other series, more to come on that. I don't want to announce anything too soon here, but there could be other series. There could be totally different conversations. There could be a series about my dogs. There could be a series about me out in the world with fellow New Yorkers, or showing people how to do this thing, in New York, because it's very intimidating for somebody that's never been here, never lived here. And also for the people that find it a little intimidating to walk outside and just like have a conversation with somebody. I'm really good at those things. I don't shy away from deep conversation. I don't shy away from just like little surface level, hey, how you doing? Small talk type of thing. I am somebody that gets approached constantly. It's probably just my aura. Never really figured it out, but a lot of people talk to me every day. A lot. If I'm outside, you can guarantee somebody's going to talk to me. Again, not really sure why, but I find it to be a blessing. It could be when I'm with my dogs or without them. Doesn't really change much. I'm just, I don't know, more approachable than I think. And so yeah, there will be more series to come. But I think that what I'm trying to establish here is no fear, following your dreams, understanding how to follow your dreams, understanding how to do that while you still have a day job, and then transitioning and doing the thing and taking the risk, not being scared of what might happen, just jump off and fly, But then also during that, keeping joy alive. What makes you happy? What keeps you happy? What are the things about yourself that you love? Like, it's a little bit of therapy at the same time as learning and developing and inspiring. There's a lot of things that are going to sort of happen here. So I'm very excited for this space. I'm very excited to have you guys here. And I hope that you'll stay along for the journey and for what's to come, for all of the things that I want to do with this platform. And yeah, this is all for me. It's for you guys. It's for everybody that I'll have on the show. And I just want to shine a light on the really dope people that they might make it big. I really hope they make it big. I hope they make it as big as they can possibly go. But my goal is to highlight the just average people that are doing the thing, and they're achieving the stuff, and so that they can inspire you guys to do the exact same thing with nothing holding you back. So, love to all, and I'll talk to y'all soon.